seated.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. On the radio, on podcasts everywhere, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on talklawradio.com. I'm here today with Ben Kemmy, who's an injury and wrongful death attorney here in San Antonio. Also, Shannon Salmon Haas, who is representing the Instagram influencers and encouragers of the world. Shannon, how are you encouraging people this week?
This week, I took a CLE, and so we have to do that continuing legal education. This week felt like any obligation I had, any responsibility that was mine, all landed on this week. So I've been really scrambling to fit everything in. But I got here, and we're doing this, and next week should be better.
Yeah, well, you look great.
You just made my heart soar when you told me that. Thank you. You do too. You as well.
I love the colors.
Thank you. You're really good for my self-esteem. Thank you.
Okay, so we want to know more about Ben before we start talking about lawsuits following the Hill Country flooding and whether they're going to be viable or not. Ben, where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? How did you get into this?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me today. I'm a San Antonian. I grew up here, was born and raised here. I went to Antonian in Castle Hills, a Catholic school in Castle Hills. I went to college at Notre Dame, and I went to law school at the University of Houston before my wife and I moved back when we had our daughter. So I've been a lawyer for a little over 10 years, and I've been practicing personal injury and wrongful death the whole time. Yeah.
Okay, and why did you choose that field, that focus?
One main reason is just it was a family business already. My dad has been a personal injury lawyer in San Antonio for over 30 years. And so I grew up kind of around his practice a lot. And I wasn't even sure I wanted to go into law when I graduated college. So I took some time off. But then once I started my legal education, I knew that I wanted to do trial work rather than, transactional work. And then once I decided that, it kind of just fit naturally to represent injured plaintiffs and work with families and injured people that way. It's been really rewarding, and it's been a great fit. Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah. Tell me more about the rewarding part. What do you find rewarding about it?
I think, to me, the most rewarding aspect of it is to work with people who are oftentimes in really difficult or they're grieving a loss in the family or a new disability that they didn't have before, and ensuring that they know what happened and why, ensuring that there's some accountability that can be realized when the law provides it, and helping them start a new chapter in their life and get back on their feet, so to speak. That's really the most rewarding part.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It does, yeah.
So we've been doing, my dad has been doing it for over 30 years, and so now I practice with him and 4 of my brothers. And so we all do personal injury work together.
So this is Ben Kemmy, and what's the family law firm name?
The Kemmy Law Firm. We're down on Main, right by SAC. And so we all office together with the 2 dogs that my brothers bring in. It's a family atmosphere.
That's great.
That is good, yeah.
Well, family atmospheres can be positive or they can maybe be negative.
Sure.
What's it like to get through a day or a week with family all the time?
Mostly a lot of fun. In a family business, there's a lot more cooperation in some ways.
Right.
Because we're not trying to one up each other to, make some kind of partner track. We're all just in this together.
Right.
And then, yeah, of course, families have their own dynamics that exist in any endeavor you can come up with, whether it's camping or practicing law.
Where are you in the birth order?
I'm the second oldest, so my older brother Nick, and then me, and then my brother Jack, Danny, and Seamus, all of us practice together.
And so are you the peacemaker, or is it your next youngest? Usually it's the
He's
middle
the
child.
instigator. I saw it, right? Did you see that hesitation?
I think we wear that hat, pass it around depending on the situation, but she's probably right. That title usually goes to my brother Seamus. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
Okay, well, we've talked about your background. Now, tell us where you got your education, and then I guess you came back to San Antonio to be with family. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. So my wife is from here. I'm from here, and so we were in Houston for the first couple of years of my practice, and then once we had my daughter, it was just like, well. There's a whole bunch of people at home that can help us.
Be closer to family.
And so that kind of was the reason for my move. And then at first I just started officing with my dad because I needed office space. And then kind of over a couple of years, our dockets began to merge more and more until we just decided to hang a shingle together.
He must be so proud.
He is. He's stressed, proud, and happy, and, all at once. And so...
it sounds like he gave you the freedom, though, that you got to explore and see if you really wanted to do this. He didn't force you into it.
For
but
sure.
I bet he's so proud.
For sure. And in fact, I think more than anything, he cautioned each of us that, becoming a lawyer is a huge responsibility.
Right.
And it's not for everyone.
Right. And he'd be so qualified to, because he's done it, so he knows the good and the bad. And
so, no, by no means was this, in the works, from when we were kids. It just kind of came together.
Okay, well, the thing I want to talk about the most is the Texas Hill Country flood that happened on July 4th. And it's a tragedy. I mean, we all recognize that. People died and they lost loved ones and they lost property and they had injuries. And so the Express News reported on some attorneys that had ads on the internet about trying to reach these victims and see if they could file lawsuits on their behalf. And so that's why I wanted to talk to you about that. When there's a flood like this, who's responsible?
Yeah, and
who can you file a lawsuit against?
And I think, first of all, like you said, it is just a tragedy of like unimaginable magnitude that we lost over 130 Texans in a single morning. And so for those families that are still grieving, I do believe this, my prayers go out to you.
Amen.
And may you be comforted in
the
your
whole
grief.
community. I mean, all of us, we all. Yeah. Well, nationwide, actually, you can say everybody, it just touched everybody.
Yeah. And I think it's one of the saddest events in my lifetime as a Texan. I'm 40 years old. But especially the loss of so many children. Was just especially painful. But of course, when awful things like this happen, it's natural to ask questions as to why. Not only for, there being accountability or justice to the families, but also just, is there something that we can do so that something like this doesn't happen again. And so I think both of those questions still have a long way to go to be fully answered.
Right. Yeah.
But if you think about the possibility of the claims, there's, of course, the government's role in coming up with the disaster management plan, responding to the disaster while it was unfolding. You can put one bucket of issues there. A second with the camps. There's a lot of camps in that county. I used to go to camp in that county. And so those claims are going to be analyzed a little bit differently. And then the third is just people who are in RV parks or rental properties who were caught up, and there were people who died in those situations as well.
Right.
And so those are kind of three main areas that you would look at with this tragedy. And so they all have unique challenges ahead of them.
Okay. So for those people that aren't lawyers, talking with Ben Kemmy, he's an attorney here in San Antonio who focuses on personal injury and wrongful death. And so just in 1 minute or less, can you explain what that term wrongful death really means?
Right. Wrongful death it's a lawyer phrase, but it means that somebody died because of carelessness. Death is a natural part of life for all human beings, but the circumstances under which people die can be because of carelessness. Anything from texting and driving and not watching the road to substandard medical care, and it runs the gamut of all kinds of ways where people die not intentionally. Nobody intended that to happen, but it was the carelessness of somebody that caused it.
So this is Talk Law Radio with guest Ben Kemmy. We're talking about whether lawsuits following the July 4th Texas flood could be viable. We have to take a break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.